Hello, and welcome back. I about fell on my chair doing that. That was probably a really bad idea. Sorry, just being a little bit of a dork. Welcome back to my videos, I guess. We left off with me pulling the billet out of the forge. Oh, one of my kids is playing piano. I was like, what is that? Anyways, I've pulled my the billet out of the forge, and you got a little preview at that. And now in this video, we're gonna be moving that metal, a lot of that metal, underneath my press, of course. It'll go from a big chunk of steel, you know, and I'll get it all welded up under the press and with the forge, and draw it out to probably about a 15 or 16 inch bar. That should give me about a 1/4 inch thickness across the billet. And then it'll give me a little room too, because I'll have to cut off the ends where I did the MIG weld, because I don't want that in my pattern. So once I get that cut off, I'll end up 13 inches, somewhere like that, and I'll divide it up into 6 pieces, restack it. I'll have to clean it all up and everything again. I'll have to regrind it and get all the forge scale and everything off of it, stack it back up. Yeah, it's going to be interesting. This is my favorite part, is the pressing it out and watching it get turned into a big flat bar. The grinding I hate. I like what I do and I love it, but if there was some way to not have to grind, I would definitely not grind. So it's going to end up, after I do the second restack, I will start trying to get the rough shape of the cleaver that I'm wanting, or closer to what the finished product's going to be. I probably won't do a whole lot on the cleaver side, because it's just a big block, basically. I'll rough shape it, but most of the profiling for the design of the shape of it's going to happen on my grinder. Now, it's a completely different story with the tang. This is a full tang knife. It can't just be pressed out on my press. The press equally squeezes from each side, or the pressure's equal from each side. So that means, you know, you got the top of the knife there, and if I try to draw out that piece of metal with the press, it's just going to squeeze it down, and then the tang is not going to be in line with the top of the knife, and it's a full tang knife. So I can't do that. I have used like a rod on one side and then the flat die on the top, to where, you know, it's got this wide of an area on the top and then a little skinny rod underneath, so that way it only moves the section of metal that the rod's touching. I can do that a little bit, but most of it's going to get done hand hammering, because I've had that get away from me, and I have really got a knife out of whack, and it took a lot of time to fix it. So I will do a little bit of it that way. Most of it's going to happen on the good old anvil. It'll be a lot of hammering. I'm sure my wrist and arm are going to hurt afterwards, but it's worth it. I like it. I love it. I hope you enjoy the video. Thank you. So I've got that billet stretched out. I have to go back and kind of smooth it out with my flattening dies, because I use the rounding dies right here. As you can see, they've got that shape to them, and they really pinch the metal and move it a lot, but they leave that impression in the metal on both sides. I try to minimize it as much as possible. I do in light touches, some harder ones, and then kind of going back over and overlapping them. But I'll have to go to this, the flattening dies like this, and then get all those grooves back out, and I should be at the length that I need it at. And you can guess it. Guess what I got to do after that? More grinding. It's always more grinding. Well, we've returned to the anvil for another talk. So I've got all my pieces squared up. I kind of made a mistake, and I let the forging part of it kind of get away from me, and I got my bar drawn out, and I lost a little track of keeping it real square. So it got a little out of shape, so I had to do a ton of grinding to get everything squared up. I'd already kind of grinded all the scale off of it, and I didn't want to put it back in the forge and make more scale on it and have to re-grind it again. So I squared everything up. I should have really paid more attention to keeping that long billet of mine squared up, and it would have been so much easier, but it took a lot of grinding. So now I need to go through, and like you can see they're square, but I still have a little bit of stuff on here. I'm going to go onto the grinder now and clean all of them up, and after that's done, I'll take them over to my little work table thing and look them over real good, make sure I don't see any cracks or anything in them like that, because I really don't want to, have one piece, let's say, that's in the dead center of my stack and it's got a crack in it. I could have just not had that in there. I doubt there's any cracks. I really take a lot of care when I do this, but I'm gonna double check. So more grinding. you have it. We're back at the anvil again. I seem to be using this thing more as a prop for talking than actually working on. That kind of happens with Damascus. I have a press, so I'm going to use it. That's not to say you can't do Damascus on an anvil and a hand hammer. I don't want to discourage anybody from that. But I'm not going to go into the things you have to account for doing it, because I have a press and that's what I use. So you saw we took that 13-inch, we drew out a 13-inch bar. We cut it up into 6 pieces. That gives us 144 layers once it was restacked. I cleaned it, tack welded it up, ground on it, got everything nice and square. All that stuff's very important. You want to keep it square, flat, and clean, so your welds go well. So that's what we kind of did in this video. This next video, I'm going to be doing a lot more of my fit and finish stuff. You're going to see me etch the blade. I will draw that billet back out. I'll just hit that real quick though. You saw most of that in this video. Yeah, the next one's some of my favorite work too. I like fit and finish a lot too. I love the forging part, of course. But the fit and finish is where I kind of just like really get into it. I put some music in and kind of just go at it and pretty everything up. Those really clean knives that you see, that fit and finish work is really what makes it happen. That's what makes a really clean knife. That's not to say like the forge to finish looks and things like that. Obviously there's fit and finish still on the handle, but I'm talking about as far as the blade goes, because I'm going to etch it, hand sand it, do all kinds of crazy stuff to it. Now the forge to finish stuff, it's great. I love that stuff. Don't get me wrong, I'm not taking away from that at all. I'm not that great at it yet. There are people who are amazing at it. I mean, amazing. Jason Knight is one of them. His fit and finish work, or his forge to finish work, is seriously, it's miles ahead of what just my clean fit and finish work is. He is really good at it. I mean, he's really good at making knives, period. He's done a lot for the knife making stuff. I've taken a lot from the guy. I wish I could take one of his classes. I'm gonna probably save some money up to do it, because I would love to learn some of the stuff from him. He's very knowledgeable. I kind of like the guy's personality a little bit. Anyways, enough about Jason Knight. In the next video, you're gonna get to see all the fit and finish stuff, like I said. And I hope you stay with me. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope to see you at the next one. Like and subscribe if you would like, please, and thank you if you do.